A new low for the Biden administration. Joe Biden is now polling at a whopping low 38% in a new USA Today Suffolk poll. Nearly two-thirds of all voters do not want Joe Biden to ever run for a second term. And get this, his Vice President Kamala Harris is polling even lower. Her approval rating is a mere 28%. That's a record low. Now, the San Francisco Chronicle called it comically bad. No vice president in the history of this country has ever polled worse, ever. Now, a vast majority of Americans are seeing what we have all known for years. Joe and Kamala are two deeply incompetent individuals. Desperately, they want to please their party's radical socialist base at all costs. Every single crisis we now have as a country is a result of their atrocious policies. All of them easily prevented. All of them can easily be fixed by simply returning to the policies that were working of Donald Trump. Now, in Afghanistan, for example, we can go and rescue the people that Joe Biden pledged he would never abandon. We can get them home. On COVID, well, Biden can follow the lead of Republican governors, make monoclonal antibodies available immediately to anyone that tests positive, of course, after approval from the patient's doctor. On inflation, Biden can abandon his failed socialist ideas, return to free market capitalism, low taxes, less bureaucracy. On the issue of energy, which is negatively impacting all of us, but especially poor Americans and middle-class Americans. But on energy, instead of begging OPEC again and again and again and getting rejected again and again, Joe can immediately return to the policies that he inherited. That is energy independence, the policies that were working with Donald Trump. Now, it would be in our best national security interest, and every American will save a fortune on gas. We're now at a 7-year high for a gallon of gasoline. We'd save on heating and cooling our homes, and we will pay less for every single item that we buy at every store. And at the southern border, we can immediately reinstate Donald Trump's policies. They were all working. You know, for example, stay in Mexico, building the wall, ending process and release. Instead, the vice president, he's just jetting off to Europe to discuss their migrant crisis during this trip to France. And meanwhile, here at home, Biden's DOJ is considering massive six-figure payouts to certain illegal immigrants, actually rewarding them for breaking our laws and refusing to respect our borders and our sovereignty. Now, there's already preferential treatment for people at the border. They don't get COVID tested. There's no vaccine mandate. And then remember, Peter Doocy last week asked Joe Biden about these $450,000 payouts. Joe Biden said at the time it's garbage and it's not true and it's not going to happen, until Joe learned that the reports were actually true and his administration was actually implementing this policy. Now he's defending it vigorously. Take a look.
Reports that were surfacing that your administration is planning to pay illegal immigrants who are separated from their families at the border up to $450,000 each, possibly $1 million per family. Do you think that that might incentivize more people to come over illegally?
If you guys keep sending that garbage out, yeah, but it's not true.
So this is a garbage report.
Yeah.
You said last week that this report about migrant families at the border getting payments was garbage.
No, I didn't say that. Let's get it straight. You said everybody coming across the border gets $450,000.
So the number was what you had a problem with.
The number I was referring to.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing.
Sure.
If, in fact, because of the outrageous behavior of the last administration, you coming across the border, whether it was legal or illegal, and you lost your child, it's gone, you deserve some kind of compensation, no matter what the circumstance.
First it was garbage, not true, it's not going to happen. Now we get scolded. I'm not sure what's worse, Joe Biden being completely in the dark about his own administration's insane policies, or then passionately defending them after calling them garbage and saying it won't happen. Regardless, a new massive migrant caravan is on its way, and there is zero plan to prevent yet another lawless surge. But Joe Biden thinks we, the American people, I guess, are too stupid to realize what's going on. In fact, over the weekend, Joe Biden told reporters Americans don't seem to be bright enough to understand the complexities of the ongoing supply chain crisis. By the way, another self-inflicted crisis by his policies. Take a look.
People are also worried about, coming up, they don't, understandably. Why is the price of agricultural products, when I go to the store, why is it higher? Like, for example, if we were all going out and having lunch together and I said, let's ask whoever's in the next table, no matter what restaurant we're in, have them explain the supply chain to us. Think they'd understand what we're talking about?
Now, Biden probably should not be throwing stones from a cognitive glass house, now should he? Now, one of the only people who probably can comprehend the supply chain crisis is the MSNBC DNC columnist who was mocked online today for his article that attempted to sell inflation as a good thing. In reality, for most people who don't work at, quote, NBC News, the supply chain crisis is not hard to understand. First, Joe Biden paid people not to work. He then forced Americans out of the workforce, now with his vaccine mandates, which are now in legal jeopardy. And at the same time, he drove up shipping costs with new regulations and restrictions on oil and gas. And then, lo and behold, the supply chain nightmare he caused. The only so-called solution from the Biden administration themselves is learn to live with less and just suffer in silence and buy your Christmas presents in October. Now, coming up, we're going to have more on Biden's oil and gas crisis with former Energy Secretary Rick Perry. By the way, we had some of the lowest prices on gas and oil and energy under Donald Trump. We were a net exporter of energy. We weren't importing a single barrel of oil from Saudi Arabia or Vladimir Putin, and we weren't begging OPEC to produce more oil.